What's good, homies? It's your man, Dr. BOA. Somebody sent me a link on IG with Kid Cudi, the rapper, performing in a dress on Saturday Night Live. And it was a tube dress. And so the comments were mixed, of course. Of course, the men were talking about the attack on masculinity and all of the other things, that go along with that. And the women were, not surprisingly, all about how y'all gonna trip because a man got on a piece of thread, or y'all just trip because a man with a beard has it on, or blah, 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 and all of those things, man. And I just look at that, man, and I say, is this really an attack on masculinity that's unlike what we've already seen? Or is this rubbing it in our face that the attack on masculinity has ended in a victory against masculinity? See, I'm of the idea that you men who are talking about an attack on masculinity, y'all are way behind the curve. You're fighting a war that has already been won. The attack on masculinity is over. Look around us. This is representative of the fact that the war on masculinity has been won and masculinity has lost. There is no war on masculinity. There has been a victory against masculinity. So let's stop crying and pointing out this thing that's an attack. No, these are not attacks. These are the result. The war on masculinity, this wouldn't have happened when there was a war. Now what this society is doing is showing the victor spoils, because the spoils do go to the victor. What we're doing now is hoping and praying that the war isn't over, but it is. So what do we fight for now? Let's take a deep dive on this one. But first, let's elevate to a higher plane. Prepare for takeoff. Now, this is going to be a controversial take, but it's true. It's true. We're not talking about a war anymore. See what I'm saying? When you look at any war, as the war is going on, the sides are controlling their territory. We lost control of masculinity years ago. This war's been over for years, man. It's literally been over for years. Young Thug wearing the blue dress on his album cover, that's not an attack on masculinity. That is proof that masculinity has been lost. Kid Cudi wearing his tube dress, this doesn't prove an attack on masculinity. It proves that the war on masculinity has been lost. The battle to save masculinity is over. In this particular society, it is over. So you guys are doing a whole bunch of fighting for something that's already lost. You can't win it back. You can't stop this from being shown because it is too widely accepted. Everyone is wearing skinny pants that fit like girl clothes now. Why? Because the war on masculinity has been lost. Guys are wearing pink barrettes and pink ribbons on their head and all of these things. Why? Because the war on masculinity has been lost. Guys are waxing their entire bodies to be smooth like a woman. Why? Because the war on masculinity has been lost. Guys are getting their eyebrows arched. Why? Because the war on masculinity has been lost. Women control masculinity now. Women decide what you present to the world as a man now. There is no war on masculinity. You guys are wasting your time fighting a war that's over. Who are you fighting against? Tell me this. In a war, there's someone to attack. Who are you attacking? Who can you attack in defense of masculinity? It is so bad that you men are attacking one another now. This war on masculinity, you men are the only men who are attacking masculinity. When I hear someone attacking masculinity, it is a man. It is a group of men attacking other groups of men. There is no war on masculinity. When men begin to kiss other men on cartoons, The war on masculinity was lost. That's proof of it. Now there are some states where a law has been passed where parents can okay their children getting gender identifying treatment, where whatever gender the child identifies with, then the parents can okay the children getting that type of treatment, for that type of hormonal treatment. So if a girl identifies as a boy, then her parents can okay her getting testosterone treatments. If a boy identifies as a girl, then his parents can okay him getting estrogen treatment. The war on masculinity is lost. There is no war on masculinity. What are we talking about here? It's just being shown. It's being thrust into our faces. There's nothing we can do about it. If you think there's something we can do about it, get in the comments and tell me what. We ain't got no power, don't control no media, don't control nothing. All we control is our mouths. So what are we going to do about it? Someone please get in my comments and tell me what are we going to do about it if there's still this war on masculinity. The war on masculinity has been lost, and what you're seeing now is proof of that. Everywhere you go, all around, you're seeing that. Under the guise of, modernizing society. There are more 50-50 relationships than ever. Why? Because the war on masculinity has been lost. Men are going to a divorce court, losing everything. There was a time when a man could go to divorce court and didn't lose anything. He gave what he wanted to give. Now you go to divorce court, the woman gets whatever she wants. Why? Because the war on masculinity has been lost. These women out here painting their sons' fingernails and toenails and letting their sons dress up in girl clothes and all of these things, just playing dress up with their heels and all that. Why? Because the war on masculinity has been lost. There is no war on masculinity. That thing is over, man. It's been over. It's been over before y'all got online complaining about it. It's over. What we are dealing with are the results of a war that has been lost. A woman can come online and say anything she wants to about men. No problem. You got to tiptoe around what you say about women. There are certain things you can't say. You're going to be attacked. How many times have you heard a woman come online, a celebrity woman, any woman, come online and apologize for something she said about men? Never. Or it's very, very rare. Now, how many times have you seen men come online and apologize for anything they say about women? Almost every day. Every week for sure. Why? Because the war on masculinity has been lost. There is no war on masculinity. The war on masculinity is over and we lost. That's all this Kid Cudi video proves. This Kid Cudi image of him online performing in a tube dress on Saturday Night Live as a quote unquote tribute to Kurt Cobain. That boy wasn't even around when Kurt Cobain was around performing, man. How you gonna give a tribute to Kurt Cobain? They told him, hey man, you can come on the show, but you got to wear this tube dress and do a tribute to Kurt Cobain. You got to do that. He said, okay, well, I just want to get back on TV again. This is proof that the war on masculinity has been lost. What we are seeing is the result of that loss. That's all. Young men are so emotional that they kill each other over anything. They get angry over anything. They do all kinds of things. There's a story of a basketball player who just beat his girl up, man, because she was cheating on him. We see it all the time. The world is overrun with emotionality. Why? Because masculinity has been defeated. I want you men to stop going around complaining about the war on masculinity. Because there is no war on masculinity. That war is over. It was lost a long time ago, brothers. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news. There ain't gonna be no recovering it. If you want masculinity in your society, you gotta move to a patriarchal society. The rule of patriarchy in America is dead. It'll never come back. Masculinity has been reduced to a bunch of online venom spewing. There is nowhere else you're going to hear any talk about masculinity in this society except YouTube and maybe Instagram. Masculinity has been reduced to a social media sideshow because no one is talking about it outside of social media. You got it in the real world, no one is talking about masculinity. It's dead. We live in a matriarchal society, man. The guys who are talking about the war on masculinity, man, those guys live in a time warp. At what point do you concede defeat and start to focus on whatever else you can do to rebuild or recover? There will be no rebuilding or recovering of masculinity because you fools think we're still at war. While masculinity continues to be phased out of a society because you don't want to focus on rebuilding it. You can't focus on going to war for something at the same time focus on rebuilding. You destroy a country in war, they come back and rebuild. No one's rebuilding during a war. The problem is the other side isn't at war. The other side is laughing and enjoying the spoils of victory while we sit over here and act like there's a war on masculinity still going on. There isn't. It's over, my brothers. And what we are experiencing and witnessing now is the other side, those who oppose masculinity, just rubbing the fruits of their labor, the spoils of their victory in our faces. So you got to get out of this fighting for masculinity mindset and ask yourself, how do we rebuild and recover the lost masculinity? And even that is dire. Y'all comment down below and let me know what you think about this topic, man. I look forward to hearing what you men have to say. I'm out.
Alphas up, betas down, it's the motto. Simps claiming that they pimps, but they not though. Alphas up, betas down, it's the motto. Suckers claiming to be players, but they not though. Alphas up, betas down, it's the motto. Tricks acting like they max, but they not though. Alphas up, betas down, it's the motto.